Let me ask you something. If saving money really worked, why are the rich using debt while you're told to stay out of it? Why are you told to work hard for a paycheck when the world is printing trillions? Think about it. You check the expiry date on milk, but never on your beliefs. And one outdated belief might be the reason you're stuck. Because the rules of money changed, but what we're taught hasn't. Here's the truth nobody explains. The most outdated belief in today's world is this: go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, stay out of debt, invest for the long term. But how can you save money when the world is printing trillions of dollars? How can you win a game where the rules keep changing? The gap between the top 1% and the rest isn't small, it's enormous. To understand money, you can't just look at your paycheck. You have to step back and look at the bigger picture. Inside every person, there's a version of themselves that grew up poor, a version that just wants comfort and security, and a version that wants to break limits and think like the rich. All three live inside us, but only one gets activated depending on what we're taught. Most of us were taught one thing: go to school and rely on a paycheck. Almost no one is taught how to build wealth. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the rich dad refused to give him a paycheck, not because money was bad, but because the paycheck trained you to become dependent, to become an employee forever. Once you accept that steady check, you accept the mindset that comes with it. Real entrepreneurs think differently. If their business collapses, they build another one. If a system doesn't support them, they move and create value somewhere else. Being an entrepreneur is not just owning a business. It's a mindset, a skill set, and a completely different set of rules. I remember receiving my last paycheck. It was in Puerto Rico when I worked for Xerox. It wasn't even a salary. It was a bonus, around $30,000. I looked at it and felt two things: excitement and discomfort. A coworker walked up to me and said, "You'll be back. You're going to fail." He said that because he failed and returned. But my mindset was different. I told him, "You failed and came back. If I fail, I'll fail forward, and I'm not coming back." That mindset is the difference. When you leave the paycheck behind, you get hungrier. You get smarter. You discover your real character. When you have nothing, you find out who you really are. Will you cheat? Will you quit? Or will you transform into something stronger? Success demands a wider view. When something bad happens, something good follows, if you're prepared. But if you believe the next 20 years will look like the last 20 years, you're going to get crushed. Think about it. When you buy milk, you check the expiration date. But people rarely check the expiration date on old beliefs. Some people say, "get out of debt." Meanwhile, the wealthy use debt strategically. I refinanced hundreds of millions at lower interest and increased my cash flow dramatically. Debt isn't the enemy. Lack of financial intelligence is. When I returned from Vietnam, my mentor told me, learn how to invest, not just in real estate, but in debt and taxes. Because debt and taxes are tools that the rich use to build wealth, and the same tools that keep the poor and middle class struggling. A doctor told me he finally made $1 million. I congratulated him, then asked how much tax he paid. $750,000. He kept less than half. When I make $1 million, I keep $1 million, because I'm not working for money. I'm building businesses and investing assets that work for me. And those assets come with tax advantages. That's the difference. Employees are taxed first. Entrepreneurs and investors often pay little or nothing. Most people don't realize this because they were never taught. They were taught to save money. But today, banks don't even want your savings. They're charging interest because there's too much money in circulation. That's why you see bubbles everywhere: stocks, real estate, everything. People are running away from cash because cash loses value. Still, people cling to old beliefs. I need a high-paying job. I need to stay out of debt. I should save money. all outdated ideas in a world that has completely changed. The truth is, most entrepreneurs today aren't really entrepreneurs. They're self-employed, and they pay the highest taxes of all. Real entrepreneurs understand that the economy outside doesn't define them. What matters is the internal economy, the mindset inside. A person with a weak inner world sees only a bad economy. A person with a middle-class mindset sees security and fears losing it. But a real entrepreneur, they don't rely on jobs, so losing one means nothing. Your external world reflects your internal world. If your inner economy is weak, you see fear. If your inner economy is strong, you see opportunity, even in crisis. A real entrepreneur falls, stands back up, and rises even higher. Every setback is fuel. Every loss is a lesson. But a person controlled by fear often ends up creating the very thing they fear most. So the mission is simple. Build yourself first. Strengthen your inner world. Break free from the mindset that holds most people down. Because the moment you accept the paycheck mindset, you hand over control. Take it back. Build the mindset. Build the skills. Build the courage. That's how you rise. That's how you get your edge. That's Rise Edge.